What's going on, everyone? Israel back here with another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys the proper form to hit in MLB The Show 23. Obviously, the game just dropped, so let's just get right into the video. So the clips you're seeing are games I played earlier in Conquest. Rookie level, they're basic stuff. This is the basic part of the game that you should be hitting consistently in. A lot of these clips I was hitting perfects, good PCI, good contact, or whatever. So once again, the three levels to your hitting is the timing is number one, the PCI, and that little bar at the bottom. I still have no idea what it's called, but I know it's just the launch angle and then how hard the ball is actually hit. So those are the three factors of hitting you got to keep in mind. And, when you're playing these little games or whatever, the conquest matches, the moment, so, whatever you got to do, you got to make sure timing is the number one thing that, you got to keep control over, because that's where, if it's going to be a hit or an out, that's the one thing you got to control over. I had plenty of times where I had really good PCI, like almost perfect, but I was just late or I was just early and it was barely fair. Like, that's how much it matters in this game. So it's honestly insane. So you could have the best PCI in the world, perfect, aimbot style PCI, but if you have terrible timing, you're never gonna get a hit. So it's kind of how this game works. So you gotta have really good timing, and a good thing to do is just playing the game is getting good timing. If you just see good pitches, or if you see a pitcher really well, or if you see one type of pitch really well, then you know how to get good timing. Like, fastballs are probably usually the easiest to get good timing on, just because they go fast, don't really move. Obviously the curveballs, all those pitches are a little bit hard because you got to time it up, which is hard to do because they're a little bit slower and they have that arc in them, so you gotta get the PCI right before you swing. Yeah, so try to focus on your timing on each pitch. There's a lot of pitches in this game. You obviously got your fastballs, your curveballs, your sliders, your slurves. There's a couple fork balls, sweeping curveballs, changeup, circle changeups. There's a lot of pitches in this game, but if you can time a couple of those pitches pretty well, you'll be pretty successful. Like, if you can always hit a fastball, if you can always hit a slider, you always can hit a sinker, if you could always hit a changeup, like, you'd be pretty good for most of the game. So all about timing those pitches up, and it's pretty easy to do that in the new custom practice mode that they updated a little bit. I don't know why I said new. You can obviously do the timing up in custom practice with certain pitchers. Now, you can't use the Diamond Dynasty cards in there, obviously. It's just like the live series guys, but if you know someone that's got a really good fastball, for example, Jacob DeGrom, you want to time him up, he's probably your guy. If you need someone for another pitch, you could go find them and play with them a little bit. So you got to make sure you're just timing the ball. Timing is the biggest thing in this game. So if you're timing the ball pretty well, you'll be able to hit really well. Now let's go into the PCI. So for PCI, everyone has different strategies on how they really do it. I usually like to start mine low. I feel like it's just easier to go up, than low, in my opinion. Sometimes I start it right in the middle, or I'll hold it on like middle to low. So that's usually where I like to start my PCI. I don't really use the dynamic thing where you can set it to a certain spot. I always have it in the middle, just because that's I'm used to at that point. I don't really do nothing crazy. I just kind of put it in the low, side of the zone, and it's easier to come up on the ball, especially if they throw like a high fastball. Like, I love my high fastballs in right in the left corner or the right corner, depending on the batter. Then it's just easier to hit because you can just flick up and it just goes to the top of the zone. You can usually get a hit. So that's how I've been able to find success most of the time with the PCI. If you're really struggling with the PCI, if you're really struggling with that PCI, there's a new one that has a bat in it now, so you actually see where you're gonna be able to hit the ball, which is pretty cool. I tried it out a little bit in the tech test. I wasn't that big of a fan of it just because I'm so used to the original ones that I've been using for years, but I think it is a really good new one for beginners, which I think can be very exciting. So seems pretty cool overall for that side of the game. So yeah, once again, if you're struggling with that PCI, go to custom practice. Try to time balls up, try to make sure you're at least spotting it. The biggest thing with PCI is, and I know I mess it up too, is the flicks. Like, I know sometimes I flick it a little bit. Like I said, I flicked up, from some of those high pitches. That's the biggest thing. You kind of want to catch the ball. You want to act like you're the catcher and you're catching the ball with the PCI. And then when you press the button, you got to focus on that timing. So there's a couple of things that comes into play right there. But as long as you're able to catch the ball with the PCI, you should be looking solid. You want to obviously get it in the middle part of the zone. That will give you the best chance for a perfect, which is the best contact in the game. So obviously you want to try to catch the ball with the PCI. I've been trying to do that a little bit more with my gameplay personally, and I think it's been working out a little bit. So just focus on catching the ball with the PCI. If you don't swing, if you don't want to swing, just try to just catch the ball. Custom practice mode will work, and then eventually start swinging, see if you're doing it right, all that good stuff. And the best way to get better at hitting is honestly just playing the game, seeing pitches, seeing different pitchers, seeing who you're good against, seeing who you're bad against. I faced a couple of pitchers with some funky movements that I was struggling a little bit against. So it's just things like that. You gotta just, it takes a while long to be good. And like I said, that you might hop into one game where you're really hitting well. You're hitting well. Everything's on point. And the next game you might just be trash. You might have like one hit. I've definitely had those swing games multiple times when I'm going into like a ranked game or a conquest game or any kind of game, and I'm hitting like insane. And then the next minute I'm hitting like trash. I'm saying? Maybe I'm swinging at the wrong pitches, outside the zone, all that good stuff. So we'll talk about the zone like management in a little bit. But yeah, it's a couple things I noticed. You're not going to be like super consistent at hitting all the time, scoring like 10 runs and everything. So you got to keep that in mind as well. So let's talk about the zone management. So obviously, you got to choose which pitches to swing at, which ones are good, everything like that. There's obviously the couple pitches that are good, like the slide. You're always going to get a slider inside, slider outside, and probably right in the corner. My favorite pitch is the slider outside. I think that's the most effective pitch in the whole game. Just because it's hard to time them with a PCI, especially going to the outside corner where it's harder to flick. In my opinion, I think it's just harder to get a clean knock, especially. Maybe they'll make contact, but you got to put it in the outside part. There's a couple times where you could leave it across the middle of the plate, or you could leave it right on the corner and someone will hit it out because they're predicting, or you're predicting a lot too on what pitches you're going to throw next. But those are really good pitches. You're going to see a lot. You're going to face a lot of sinkers, probably a lot of changeups low, curveballs low. Yeah, I see more high fastballs, I think, more than ever, like right on the corners, which I think is a very effective pitch, or a fastball, inside. That could be pretty effective. The outside fastball, not as much, just because, like, if you hit an outside fastball, you're likely to get the exit velo up, which is the third thing we covered. On that bar with the launch angle and everything like that, and how hard you hit off the ball. That's what I've noticed about outside fastballs, is just that is able to just be hit so much further than any other pitch. So the inside fastball is a lot easier because you get jammed. Even if they get a perfect, it's always not a home run. It's usually off the wall, or it's usually an out. There's a lot more, better chances, I think, for throwing an inside fastball than ever before. So that's a really good pitch, inside fastball, to try to get good at swinging, because I know people throw it a lot. It's a couple pitches people throw a lot, like slider inside, right in the middle of the plate. It's another good one they throw. But yeah, you have to recognize the patterns that people are throwing in game. So for example, if you're playing ranked seasons, right, and you see, you have first pitch, fastball high inside the corner, okay, and then you go next batter, and he throws the second pitch of the AB, fastball inside the corner. He's going to throw a fastball inside the corner somewhere in the next AB. So just recognizing the pattern recognition on some of the cards they're using, and seeing which ones you could drive up. Because if you're really good at managing the box, then you're going to be a great hitter automatically. Even if you have terrible everything, you're just going to be a good fundamental hitter, and you're going to be hard to play against. You're going to draw a lot of walks and everything like that. So that's the biggest part of hitting, is knowing which pitches are going to be strikes, and knowing which pitches are going to be balls. Like I play at Dodger Stadium all the time. I know what the box looks like from the outfield, so I know which pads it goes from to the other pads. I know which top of the stadium it goes to from the bottom of the dirt. So that's why I like playing in a consistent stadium like that, just because I know where the ball is going to be all the time. So that's another strategy you can use to know where the box is. I've seen a couple crazy people like draw it on their monitor, which is, I wouldn't recommend that one. But hey, if you're really struggling, you can use that tactic as well, maybe. But yeah, you just have to play the game, know the game fundamentally, and know which pitches are going to be good pitches to swing at. Obviously, timing that PCI up, and then timing the actual swing that you're going to get. So a lot of factors go into hitting. Just practice. You'll get better at it in your custom practice, whether it be in games, ranked seasons, whatever you want to practice in. Go ahead. But that's all I got to say on hitting. I think if you just practice those three things, I think you'll be really good. Timing the ball up, getting a good PCI, and managing your zone, I think you'd be pretty solid overall. So let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section below. I'll try to break it down the best I can, so hopefully I did a great job of that one. But yeah, we're always going to be posting these MLB The Show 23 videos left and right, so make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.